Good time to go live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the journey beyond. This is Dr. Eve. I am on the journey beyond in service to my community. And I just wanted to pop in live really quickly. For those of you who are over here on Facebook, I am also on YouTube. So I just wanted to, you might see me look in different places. For those of you on YouTube, I am also on Facebook. I'm going to get my three prongs set up very shortly so that I won't be going looking, in so many different directions. But I thank you all for being here. I am Dr. Eve. I am a health and human service educator by profession. But I do that in entrepreneurship. I'm also an author, speaker, consultant, and you name it. I wear a lot of hats. So, this journey beyond, I want to talk a little bit about. I have a special topic I want to talk about tonight, but I want to give you a little bit of introduction for those of you who don't understand what this journey beyond means. It means to me. So, I started, as I've shared with many, many people, I am working to help those individuals who are in service, who are in profession, who are doing the work already in profession to extend their services in tech enhanced environments. Why? Because years and years and years and years and years ago, I discovered that my niche or that my gifts were really emphasizing my ability in technology, right? So, no matter what type of service I was in, I always loved the tech side of things. So, how do we use tech in practice? So, I want to talk a little bit about how I scaled that or how it scaled itself, or how God's gift will naturally scale you to where you should be. So I took this journey not too long ago with myself to document, to go back over my life and really document what it was. How did I arrive? How did I arrive here? Right? How did I arrive, first of all, to a graduate degree, to a PhD, to to loving tech, to doing all these things, and to having a program that extends services in using tech hybrid communities? Well, it's very easy, y'all. It was guided. It's so many layers to the amazing service that you have been called to do. So I'm talking about that because I want people to really begin to get it, really begin to understand that your service level here does not mean that it's going to stop there. It's going to take levels. Why? Because the person, our source, who is God, who put us as resources in charge of the resources here on the ground in earth, right? That we are in service, and in service to others, He continues to grow us along the trajectory over time in all the ways that He wants us to show up. But it does take time. So when I think about where I began in high school, when I really realized that I was just an absolute amazing processor, right? So I talked about this a little bit in my book called Preparing for Your Season of Elevation, where it's a compilation of short stories about life. And it's the first book of the Touch One Life, Touch Million series. I talk a little bit about some of the things that kind of led me here, just short stories, stories about the struggle, stories about birth, stories about this, and stories about that. Ultimately, it was the challenge of me discovering in the classroom that I got my greatest inspiration was being really, really good and walking into the classroom setting every single day to challenge the person across from me. That I was an amazing processor, key processor, and data processor, amazing data processor. And so it never left me. I literally just loved the processing these keys. And so I was a really, really good at it. No one could beat me. And so it was like, okay, God, I love this space. No, I was no longer feeling inadequate. Like I can't get this math. My friends are so much faster than me, or they read so much, not faster than me, but they comprehend so much quicker than me. Why do I process so much slower? It wasn't about that. It was about what am I really good at? And so sometimes we have to take use the no, not sometimes, but we must remove our pessimistic lens of how we look at our lives and exchange that for the optimistic lens that tells us what we're really sharp at. That's one of the things that I really talk a lot about in our program called Innovation Approaches to Manifest Your Wealth and Excellence. What is your strength? So when I learned what my strength was, I was on the journey beyond dot dot dot, right? So it's been a very adventurous journey for me to get to this point, to be able to put all the dots together, to learn why God took me on the journey, not just as understand, being a major asset in the processing and in the tech field, but to utilize my service, the part of me that he created on the inside of me to help others, right? Because he has created within me the desire to serve, the desire to look at social issues, the desire to find problems, and not only that, but to design programs. So what you see all around me is the pathway in which God led me on the journey beyond, right? And so I'm here today and I want to continue to talk with you all about the journey. And there's always going to be another layer, and another layer. So I I was thinking tonight, or not tonight, but in the recent weeks, I just came back into the country. So before I left, I decided, okay, my dissertation has been published with the with a data service, but I did not give up the rights. I maintained my copyrights, which means that I get to publish it. So I came to ask all of you out there who are degree, postgraduate degree, have you published your works? Have you published your thesis? Have you published your dissertation? Have you can you see the link between your service and the degree choices that you've made? Because literally back here on this wall are all is the complete pathway in which God took me on the journey to beyond dot dot dot, right? So I thought about that a couple of weeks ago because I'm up to book 2 now, publishing my new book, called, Social Proof Mastery. And that is a revision of a book that I had written previously called Clients Everywhere Will Your Name Come to Mind? And what that book was all about was steps that you take to begin to put yourself out here, to prepare yourself to develop community around the things that you're going to do. Now, why do you need to do that? There are a lot of people who are doing creating products, but they have missed a step. They've missed the step of engagement, missed the step of developing community, missed the steps of building a collective, missed the steps of serving in your community around the thing that you want to share your wisdom about, right? In a book, as an author, as a speaker, as a consultant, right? And so I want you all to truly begin to think about the connecting all the dots. Number one, connect all the dots that led you to where you are today. I want you to savor and reminisce over those layers and ask yourself, what did God ask me to do already? Why am I over here chasing this or chasing that? And I haven't completed this over here. Have you connected the dots? Do you know what that looks like? What was your journey? And have you completed the assignment? Absolutely not, because the journey at each layer, God always gives us a test and a testimony along the journey. Why? Because He called us to serve. We called us to serve with our lives. He calls us to testify of all the ways in which He showed up in our lives to keep us steady and ready and move us beyond where we are. So, welcome to the Journey Beyond podcast with Dr. Eve. I am excited to continue to share my journey as a leader in my community. Been called years and years and years ago. I've always been in service to my community, and today my lens is clear. My lens is clear about the work God has called me to, and yada yada yada. Now I know that I mentioned to you all, why haven't you published your works? I mentioned that because that is the next connection of my layer, right? Like, God, you've taken me on this amazing journey. You've brought me here, you've seen me there, and all of these things, but what's next? He said, you haven't finished. You have not finished what I've already asked you to do. So go back, because there is indeed a need for why you have to publish that particular work, and a need for why I told you not to publish it with that school. Because if you had published it with the school, you would not be able to publish, to own the rights to it. The school would own the rights. Can you tell me why a school that you paid so much money should own the rights to your work? That's an oxymoron to me. So I am so grateful that the Holy Spirit led me to maintain the copyrights to my work, because now I get to publish it in a book. Have you Now the beauty of that is, remember I said back in high school how God used like that tech thing, like data processing, that whole thing. I was really just in love with processing data. Well, he took it who says he says, well, baby, it ain't over here. That this may not look like much to you right now, but he's had me processing data for the rest of my life. So today I am a qualitative researcher, which is a scientist, a data science. I am a scientist in the field. My work centers the use of technology in practice in service to others, right? So, can you see how God just connected all the dots like that? He's amazing, y'all. He's just the governor of our kingdom of heaven. He is so amazing. And I'm grateful for the connection of those dots. And I'm excited that not only have I gone back, he's had me to go back and say, hey, you didn't finish this, Dr. Eve, not only to republish or to revise my second book of the series Touch One Life, Touch Million series, Social Proof Mastery, because that's what I had to do when I was going through school. I literally put myself out here on the map using social proof concepts, right? I literally, when I was in school, I didn't wait till I graduated from school to decide to market myself. I'm sure that there are many of you out there who know me, have seen me in the space for a very long time. And I have just been teaching things that I was learning along the way. Why? Because I was setting up, building my credibility and my authority in the industry, because you need to. because you don't wait until you write something before you build your social proof, your credibility, and your authority and your trust with others around the topic. It's very, very critical that you start the process. And so the social proof mastery book number 2 centers the things that you need to do, guidelines and steps around getting yourself out there and really setting yourself up to be a trusted authority and credible in your line of work, right? And it should be consistent with your journey beyond, not flip flopping all over the place. I am so blessed to really to have the discernment. Like I asked God, like, I need you to show me how this connects to the rest of my life because I don't want to waste any time with you. I don't want to waste any time doing your work, right? So I want to make sure that I'm on the right path, that I am getting to the journey beyond the way that you would like me to do that. And so I'm forever grateful. Again, for those of you who are joining me in the aftermath, I am Dr. Eve, and this is my podcast, A Journey Beyond, The Journey Beyond. And so, to get to the sweet part of this, I asked the question of you out there, you, the audience. Do you have a thesis that you haven't published? Do you have a dissertation that you have not published? Why did you choose that trajectory, and are you on track? Are you on the track beyond your writings? Like, you wrote it, now what? You wrote the dissertation, now what? Are you utilizing in the field to serve others, to maximize your ability to grow as a professional? Are you maximizing your ability to achieve wealth and excellence through the tool that God allowed you to write? So I'm here today because I'm telling you that's coming out. That's another book that's coming. That is the Facilitator Perceptions of Using Mobile HS in Addiction Relapse Prevention. Why is that topic so important? Because that's a credible body of work that I studied and researched for 4 years at the onset of mobile applications before it was a thing where you had all of these apps. I remember coming and sharing about telehealth and telemental health. I remember coming and saying, hey guys, you better get this telemedicine because baby, you can get a subscription to this. You can see your doctors online. You can you can get behavioral health support online, unlimited behavioral health support just for this little cost. And that's when it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like a big deal. I was introducing it to the community, but no one wanted to listen. What happened? COVID happened. COVID happened, and the entire world was forced to pivot to the internet to do something that was extremely unfamiliar. The beauty is, I had already done the research. I had already done something that people didn't understand. I'd already added value to the field. So God has instructed me to republish it so that people can have access to it. Why? Because it's still a thing. What we know is that if it can, that what I learned through that study was that people want, when they have access, education, and social support, they can thrive through any situation. They, with the right facilitators, with the right psychoeducation methods, that people can thrive. They can get past the social things or social ill that they were going through to thrive and become very fruitful, have very fruitful and progressive lifestyles. So I'm Dr. Eve. I just dropped in for a video tonight for another episode of The Journey Beyond with Dr. Eve here on YouTube and Facebook. If you enjoyed this information, drop me a little message below. What would you like to hear more about? And more importantly, my question to you is, have you published your thesis? Have you published? Do you know that you can extend your service? Do you understand what that looks like? Have you considered extending your income? Have you extended thinking about how to use what you went how to use what you have in your hand to begin to extend a peer supportive, create and design a peer supportive environment that would help people in your industry or those that you serve and beyond the walls and borders of our world. So I'm Dr. Eve, everyone. I wear a lot of hats, but most importantly, I am a daughter of the most amazing God, and He has shown me how to connect all the dots on the journey beyond as He has planted all of these special, very special gifts in my life so that I can share them with you to get you to grow past where you are. Extend your services today, everyone. You don't have to stay where you are. Again, I am Dr. Eve on the Journey Beyond. May you have the most amazing day, and whatever you do, let no one get in the way.